From catastrophic breakdowns to class action lawsuits, truckers are calling this engine a nightmare. Some even say it's ruining trucks and livelihoods. So, what's the truth? Is the MX-13 a revolutionary powerhouse or a ticking time bomb? Today, we're exposing the Paccar MX-13, the engine powering some of the most iconic trucks on the road, Kenworth and Peterbilt. It's been praised for its fuel efficiency and lightweight design, but there's a darker side. We're diving into the specs, its failures, and the real stories from drivers who've lived through the chaos. Stick around, because this is a tale of promise, betrayal, and lessons every trucker needs to hear. If you've ever driven an MX-13 or are thinking about buying one, you won't want to miss this. Let's start with what the Paccar MX-13 is all about. This is a 12.9-liter inline-six diesel engine designed for Class 8 trucks like the Kenworth T680 and the Peterbilt 579. Now it delivers 380 to 510 horsepower and 1,450 to 1,850 pound-feet of torque, with peak torque kicking in at around 900 RPM. It's lighter than 15-liter engines like the Cummins X15, making it a favorite for fleets chasing fuel economy. Paccar, the parent company of Kenworth and Peterbilt, touts its advanced tech: a high-pressure common rail fuel system, variable geometry turbocharger, and a compacted graphite iron block for strength without extra weight. The MX-13 also boasts a million-mile B10 design life, meaning 90% of engines should hit that mark before major repairs. On paper, it's a beast, efficient, powerful, and built for long-haul or regional work. Paccar's testing at their Mount Vernon, Washington Technical Center puts it through grueling simulations, from Death Valley heat to Canadian Arctic cold. So why are truckers so angry? Well, the trouble starts with the MX-13's emission systems and fuel injectors. To meet EPA 2010 emission standards, the engine uses exhaust gas recirculation, or EGR, a diesel particulate filter, DPF, and selective catalytic reduction, SCR, with diesel exhaust fluid. These systems reduce pollutants, but also add complexity. The EGR recirculates exhaust to lower emissions, but it generates intense heat, stressing components like the EGR cooler. The DPF traps soot, requiring regeneration cycles that can clog if not managed properly. And the SCR relies on DEF to neutralize nitrogen oxides. But any glitch in the system can trigger a derate, slashing engine power. And worst of all, a 2023 class action lawsuit alleges a defect in the MX-13's fuel injectors, claiming they clog without warning, causing power loss, engine knocking, vibrations, and even total failure. This isn't just a minor hiccup. It's a problem that's left trucks stranded and drivers broke. Let's break down the fuel injector issue, because it's at the heart of the controversy. The lawsuit, filed against Paccar in December 2023, targets MX-13 engines in 2021 and newer Kenworth and Peterbilt trucks. It claims the fuel injector's atomization holes are prone to clogging, either due to poor design or contaminants in the fuel supply during normal operation. Now, when this happens, fuel can't reach the combustion chamber properly, leading to lean fuel mixtures, RPM fluctuations, and even engine shutdowns. The suit says Paccar knew about the defect but hid it, selling trucks that were doomed to fail. Repairs, cleaning or replacing injectors don't fix the root issue, and trucks keep breaking down. For truckers, this means thousands in repair bills, weeks of downtime, and safety risks if the engine fails on a busy highway. Now, Paccar's silence on the issue has only fueled the outrage. Beyond the lawsuit, the MX-13 has a history of other problems. Early models, especially pre-2015, were notorious for EGR and DPF issues. The EGR cooler could leak or clog, causing overheating and turbo failures. The DPF often clogged during extended idling, a common scenario for truckers waiting at loading docks. Reddit forums like R Truckers are littered with complaints about these issues. One driver called their 2013 MX-13 a hill finder because it lost power on inclines, barely pulling like a 175 horsepower engine, despite being rated at 435. Another reported a spun rod bearing at just 330,000 miles, with the entire engine block deemed toast. Repair costs for these failures can hit $15,000 or more, and parts like turbochargers or camshafts are notoriously expensive. Now, even newer models aren't immune. Truckers report plastic coolant fittings breaking and DEF systems triggering derates over minor sensor issues. But now, let's hear from the drivers who've lived through this nightmare. Take Jake, a driver out of North Dakota. He bought a 2016 Kenworth T680 with an MX-13, hoping its fuel efficiency would boost his profits. For the first 200,000 miles, it ran like a dream, averaging 6.5 miles per gallon, hauling flatbed loads. But then the check engine light started flashing. At the shop, he learned the EGR cooler had failed, taking out a turbo. The bill was $9,000, and he was sidelined for 2 weeks. 6 months later, the DPF clogged, costing another $4,000. Jake's savings took a hit, and he started dreading every trip, wondering when the next breakdown would come. On Reddit, he shared his story, warning others. The MX-13's fuel savings aren't worth the repair bills. Get a Cummins if you can. Then there's Maria, an owner-operator from Texas. She leased a 2021 Peterbilt 579 with a 510 horsepower MX-13, drawn by its sleek design and Paccar's warranty. But in 2022, her truck started shaking violently on I-40. The mechanic found clogged fuel injectors, a problem covered by the lawsuit. Paccar replaced them under warranty, but the fix lasted only 3 months. The second repair wasn't covered, costing Maria $6,000 and a week of lost income. She reached out to Paccar, but they offered no help, claiming it was a maintenance issue. Maria's now stuck with a truck she can't sell. Dealers won't touch MX-13 models with injector issues. Her advice on a trucking forum? Avoid the MX-13 like the plague. It's ruined my business. Not every trucker hates the MX-13 though. Some drivers and fleets swear by it. A fleet manager in California told Commercial Carrier Journal that his 9 MX-13 trucks, bought in 2014, deliver the best fuel economy in his fleet, averaging 7 miles per gallon. His drivers love the quiet operation at smooth power band, saying it outperformed noisier Cummins and Detroit engines. But even he admitted a downside. Repairs were a hassle. Only Paccar dealers could read the engine's proprietary software, and undefined fault codes left mechanics guessing. Another driver on the Combine forum praised the 2015 MX-13 for farm use, saying it pulled as well as a 16-liter engine after a tune-up. Now, these stories show the MX-13 can shine under the right conditions, but the risks are hard to ignore. So, why did the MX-13 go so wrong for so many? Well, it starts with Paccar's design choices. The engine's compact 12.9-liter displacement was meant to save fuel, but cramming 510 horsepower into a smaller block puts extra strain on components. The emission systems, EGR, DPF, SCR, add layers of complexity, and any failure in one part cascades to others. The fuel injector defect, if proven, points to a manufacturing flaw Paccar should have caught. Their rigorous testing at the Mount Vernon Tech Center, with dynamometers and climate chambers, didn't replicate real-world abuse, heavy loads, biodiesel, or prolonged idling. And Paccar's response to complaints has been lackluster. The lawsuit claims they concealed the injector issue, leaving truckers to foot the bill. Even without the lawsuit, the engine's reputation for costly repairs has tanked resale values for MX-13 powered trucks. The financial impact is staggering. Let's do the math. A single injector replacement can cost $2,000 to $3,000, and a full set runs $6,000 or more. Add labor and downtime, and one breakdown could set you back $10,000. Now, if the EGR or DPF fails, expect $5,000 to $15,000. For an owner-operator grossing $150,000 a year, a few breakdowns could wipe out half their profit. Fleets aren't spared either. Hundreds of trucks in the shop mean missed deliveries and unhappy clients. The lawsuit argues Paccar's inaction forced drivers to take risks, not just financially, but on the road. A sudden power loss from clogged injectors could cause accidents, endangering drivers and others. Now, it's no wonder truckers are furious, with some on Reddit calling the MX-13 a 500,000-mile engine, compared to Cummins' million-mile reliability. Paccar's side of the story isn't all bad. They've invested heavily in the MX-13, with upgrades in 2017 like a variable displacement oil pump and single-cylinder air compressor to boost efficiency. The engine's B10 life of 1 million miles is real for some, and its fuel economy, up to 7 miles per gallon in ideal conditions, saves thousands annually. Paccar's 250,000-mile warranty covers many early failures, and their dealer network, while limited, is growing. Posts on the Combine forum suggest post-2015 models are more reliable, with fewer EGR issues after tuning or deletions, though deletions are illegal in the US. Paccar's also fighting the lawsuit, denying the injector defect is widespread. But their silence on trucker complaints and slow response to fault code issues, like the undefined codes mentioned in reviews, haven't really helped their case. The MX-13's troubles have reshaped the industry. Kenworth and Peterbilt trucks with MX-13 engines are harder to sell used, with dealers offering steep discounts to move them. Now, truckers are flocking to Cummins X15 or Detroit DD15 powered rigs, which have better reputations for durability. Paccar's market share hasn't tanked like Navistar's did with the MaxxForce 13, but the lawsuit and bad press are a black eye. Some fleets still spec MX-13s for their fuel savings, but they're hedging their bets with extended warranties. The controversy has also sparked a broader debate about emission systems. EGR, DPF, and SCR are necessary for EPA compliance, but they're also a headache across brands. Now, truckers on X often pine for pre-2010 engines, free of DEF and DPF woes, but those days are long gone. So what can truckers learn from the MX-13 saga? First, research is everything. Before buying a truck, check forums like Reddit or truckersupport.com for real driver experiences. And look at the engine's maintenance history and avoid models with known issues, like pre-2015 MX-13s or 2021 plus trucks tied to the Injector lawsuit. Second, maintenance is a non-negotiable. Change fuel filters every 15,000 miles, especially if you're using biodiesel, which clogs injectors faster. Use premium lubricants to prevent sludge, and run the engine at 1400 to 1600 RPM under heavy loads to avoid lugging, which stresses components. Third, get an extended warranty covering emission systems and injectors. Now it's pricey, but cheaper than the $15,000 repair. And finally, find a reliable Paccar dealer or mechanic trained on MX-13s, as generic shops often can't handle the proprietary software. Now, if you're stuck with an MX-13, there are ways to minimize that pain. ECM tuning, as suggested by National Fleet Management, can optimize performance, but ensure it's legal in your state. Jaltest Diagnostics, praised by Whole Fleet, can read fault codes quickly, saving shop time. If injectors clog, insist on warranty coverage, especially for 2021 plus models, and document every repair for potential legal claims. Now, for older trucks, consider trading up to a Cummins or Detroit-powered rig if repair costs outweigh fuel savings. And join the class action lawsuit if you own a 2021 plus Kenworth or Peterbilt. It could lead to some compensation. Above all, trust your instincts. If your MX-13 starts shaking or losing power, get it to a shop before it's a total loss. The Paccar MX-13 is a paradox. It's a fuel-efficient, lightweight engine with the potential for a 1 million-mile life, but its emission systems and injector issues have broken trust. The 2023 lawsuit could force Paccar to act, but for now, truckers are left holding the bag. This isn't just about one engine. It's a wake-up call for the industry. Manufacturers need to prioritize reliability over flashy specs, and truckers need to demand transparency. Now, the MX-13 hasn't ruined every truck, but for too many drivers, it's been a costly lesson in what happens when innovation outpaces execution. But what's your take? Have you driven an MX-13? And did it live up to the hype, or did it leave you stranded? Maybe you've got some tips for keeping it running smooth. Drop your stories in the comments below. We want to hear from you. And if this video opened your eyes, hit that like button and share it with your fellow truckers. Subscribe and ring that bell for more hard-hitting trucking exposés. Until next time, keep your rig rolling and your wallet intact. Stay safe out there.